All right, so this is for any absent work for Wednesday, September 5th. You get to see how cute my freaking dog is and hear him in the background too. I'll probably say that in every video. So for the bell work that we did on September 5th, it was a vocabulary day, which I will make this bigger. And so in A Mystery of Heroism, we will encounter words that you might not understand. So step one is to try and create a sentence for the words that are below based on just what you think they mean. Have you ever heard the word ominous, indolent, or diabolical? What do you think they mean? And try and create a sentence. So step two is after you've written that sentence, you don't have to share it with a partner this time unless you feel like sharing it with your parents or guardians or friends at home. So the next step is to look up the word and use it correctly in a sentence. So try and get that correct sentence stuck in your brain. Sorry, my dog is being a pest. That was your bell work. So if you need to pause the video and look at it, that's up to you. So yesterday's work, they spent about 10 minutes finishing up some summaries and getting that organizer filled out. So the learning targets we went over are determining what the literature central idea is and trying to figure out what that complicated A Mystery of Heroism story was trying to say. So the assessment that we still haven't taken is about central idea, and the steps that you do with this kind of help you figure out what is going on in that story. So they got in partners to be able to do this, but you're going to have to do it on your lonesome, and you are going to stop every paragraph, not the paragraphs that are 1 to 2 sentences, but at least a big chunk paragraph, and say something every time you stop and write it down. So you are basically going to stop and determine what the central idea is, or ask a question about the section, or clarify something that didn't make sense to you before, or make a substantial comment, or make a connection. So just make sure you are stopping every paragraph and doing one of these things. Not all of these things per paragraph, but just one, the one you want to focus on. If you can't do one of these, then you need to reread that paragraph and figure out what's going on. So doing this first one together, which let me get out of the screen so I can type. So the first paragraph of the story is, the dark uniforms of the men were so coated with dust from the incessant wrestling of the two armies that the regiment almost seemed a part of the clay bank which shielded them from the shells. On the top of the hill, a battery was arguing in tremendous roars with some other guns, and to the eye of the infantry, the artillerymen, the guns, the caisson, the horses were distinctly outlined upon the blue sky. When a piece was fired, a red streak, as round as a log, flashed low in the heavens, like a monstrous bolt of lightning. The men of the battery wore white duck trousers, which somehow emphasized their legs, and when they ran and crowded in little groups at the bidding of the shouting officers, it was more impressive than usual to the infantry. So first I would stop and figure out what this paragraph is kind of saying. So I know that it's talking about uniforms and men. There are two armies. They're on top of a hill. I know that there's some horses, that things are being fired, that look like bolts of lightning. They're wearing duck trousers, bunch of shouting officers. So I think that the central idea, that's what I want to stop and do, is that there are two armies, I can spell, that are fighting in a war. So I believe that's the central idea. So if I wanted to stop at that point and move on to the next paragraph, that's fine. But I want to do examples for the other ones for you. So I may stop in this paragraph and ask a question. What's not making sense to me? And something that's kind of not making sense to me is, what are duck trousers? So I'd put that in my say something graphic organizer. So it may be something I can go and look up, or it can just be a question that will forever remain. But I can go and even Google, you can see my other videos uploading, what are duck trousers? Apparently duck trousers are made of duck. That makes sense. Maybe let's look at some images. Oh, so I know this is kind of an old story, so this is probably what they're talking about. And it looks like Civil War kind of attire. So maybe this is in the Civil War. Civil War. So I can move on from that. I know that was my question. Clarification. I can kind of clarify because I was confused. I'm like, what does it mean when a piece was fired? So my clarification could be that I thought about it, and a piece fired is when someone is shooting something, maybe bullets, or they are just firing a gun. So I know from rereading and clarifying that there are guns or bullets or something is being fired. My comment, which I already have an example here, I can just say, you know, this was kind of confusing because I don't know what duck trousers look like. Or I can make a comment of, this must be an older war, maybe the Civil War, maybe it's World War I, if I can type World War I. So that could be my comment. My connection is going to be a connection to my life, to a book, to a story, to a movie, just kind of making those connections so I can start getting those images. So this reminds me of Brave. My dog is distracting me. Braveheart. So Braveheart is a movie because everyone is dirty and fighting. So that's my connection. So again, you do not have to stop and do all of these for one paragraph. Just pick one. Pick one you want to focus on. If there's a burning question that you have no idea what's going on, put it there. If you want to practice doing the central idea, put it there. So what the graphic organizer looks like, there's the rules for you and some ways to start a central idea, question, clarification, comment. But this is what it looks like. So you're just stopping and doing one of these. And I'll put this on the site so that you can type in it and have access to it. So this is basically going to help you figure out what's going on in that story. And you're just going to do it for the first 2 pages. So the reason that we are looking at A Mystery of Heroism is because, first off, the title, A Mystery of Heroism, this story is also trying to figure out what makes a hero. And we're going to figure out if Frank Collins fits in our characteristics that we've built of what makes a hero. So that is basically what you are going to do. If you have any questions, come find me. But that is all. I will attach A Mystery of Heroism. I will attach the graphic organizer, and then you should be good to go.